Hi there. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I did mention that I picked up a oscilloscope from the same gentleman that I got the lighthouse lamp from. And I'm really pleased. And I say, the last time I actually used one of these was in my job, which goes back quite a few years now, considering I got off in '92, and it was a few years before then that I actually worked with oscilloscopes, or we used them for testing various signals and that. Yeah, I can't say too much what I worked at. The official secrecy and all that, which is ridiculous, but there we are. So I can't say too much. Anyhow, what I will say is the scopes that I was using then were pretty primitive compared to this one, and this one is nowhere as complicated as they do get, but it suits to show various applications. Funny enough, as I said earlier, I picked this up, and only a couple of days after that my mate picked one up. He's the one he's got is the valve job. It's, to my mind, it's very interesting. It's fairly large as well. I don't know the exact size. This one is sort of a bench type scope. This has only got 2 channels, whereas his one's got 4. And it'd be interesting if we can get his one working. It is valve, so we're in with a chance. It's getting the valves at the right price. But anyhow, hopefully we can do it remotely in my case, because I'm in England, he's in France. Anyway, let's go over this one. It's going to be very basic, because I don't know too much about these. Basically, they are a tracer or graph tracer of various patterns. Now, I suppose what you would normally see is the normal sine wave that our electric produces. Sine wave. You can also get a square wave, a sawtooth, or probably a mixture of the lot. But here I'm just going to show you the basic stuff and what the various controls do. Firstly, let's go from left to right. Here you have the first row down here. You've got your on-off switch. The 2 knobs here, these are important in as much as they can either save you burning your screen with the trace being too bright. Now, the first one, intensity. As you turn it up, you can bring the trace up so you can get a bit. I tend to keep it fairly low, because if it was just a spot, you could burn the CRT or the cathode ray tube. The button below is for your focusing. I don't know if you can see it. At the moment it's right out of focus. It's got a blurry line. Go right the other way and it's blurry again. So midway out there, you've got a nice clean trace. So they're the first 2, intensity and focus. Up the top, you've got like a little hole. It says trace rotation. I won't show you it working. But what it is, and that confused me, I must admit. I thought, oh blimey, there would have been a light in there or something like that. But no, it is merely inside there is like a screw head, and by getting a screwdriver in there and gently adjusting it, you can make this trace move that way or that way. The idea obviously is to get it horizontal, and that's the use of that trace rotation. Anyhow, leaving that, we come on to generator. That's these two buttons here, and they are for generating certain patterns. So you haven't got to worry about an external source. If you want to look at it, you've got immediate 3 traces. Now I can show you these. You've got your 3 buttons down there, sine wave. So I'll press that up. I'll get that a little bit brighter. There's your typical sine wave, and that's coming out of the output there through a probe and into the channel 1. This is obviously on channel 1. Channel 2 is not being used at the moment. And there's your trace. Now you can increase the amplitude, the time, it's a nice clean sine wave. Now I can put it on to square wave, and there's your typical square wave. This is the type of wave you would get if you pick up these 12 volt inverters, which from 12 volts to mains voltage. This is the type of wave you would get, or a modified form of sine wave. If you were to get one with a perfect sine wave, I have got one down in the shed, but it's not in use at the moment, so I can't demonstrate it. One I picked up at a boot sale. They didn't know what it was. I did. And that gives a true sine wave. If you were to use certain items on a square wave, you can damage them, so be wary. Anyhow, square wave is what we're producing now, and the same things again. This is nice and clean. You've got no ringing or anything on there. That's a term I learnt when I was in the job. They called it ringing. And it was like a little sine wave superimposed on the square wave. So that's your square wave. Once again, by altering the time, and also you can move along the position of it as well. By that control down there, you can move it along so you get it on the exact thing. Anyhow, let's look at the last one. And as far as I know, that's called a sawtooth. Another pattern. Once again, the amplitude. And that is your typical sawtooth. Now, as I say, I'm learning this all the time. This is totally different scope to what I was used to. The thing I was used to was fairly primitive. I do remember, as I was quite young at the time, I made up a kit. I think it was a Heath kit, and it was a little tiny scope. It was very basic. It worked. There was a tiny tube in it. I think about, God, I can remember it was quite small, and I made that up, and it just gave a simple trace. This one's more complicated, as you can see. You've also got range of hertz. So if you're the frequency you're working between, you alter that. As you can see, you've got the readings underneath. Up to 1 meg. I won't go too much into that. Now we've done the position, which is that one there, that obviously moves the trace along laterally. You've got your, now this makes, so that sort of locks it in, hold. You've got your mode switch. Now I've left it on auto and we're on channel 1. Leave it on channel 1 because that's what we're on. We're on channel 1. It's showing the source. The mode auto norm. Now the TVV and the TVH, I'm pretty sure that means TV vertical scan and horizontal scan, and this would be used if you're tuning one of the older sets. If I'm wrong on any of these things, please correct me. And I don't profess to be an expert on these things. I'm not an expert on anything, but anyhow, that's what I think it is. Coming down, you've got your other controls here. This is the volts division, as I say, by changing that is associated with channel 1. The position moves this up and down. The mode, at the moment we're on channel 1, we're only using channel 1. So I turn that off, that's showing channel 2. Well, obviously there's no signal going in channel 2, so you're not going to get anything. Dual is the two together, and additive, you can add one to the other. Position again, that would be for channel 2, and volts division also for channel 2. You've got various test points. This is where you would calibrate the probe. Go on there and you'll get I believe that gives a square wave, I think. Let's have a little look. We've taken the probe off and going on here. I might be totally wrong. Yep, we're getting a square wave, and that's on the little probe. On this you've also got an attenuator. By throwing it across, you've got an attenuator. It's just a resistor in there. So that's what that one does. And obviously you can take measurements by carefully moving these up and down and get them on the right parts of the graticle. This is called the graticle. It's the it's like the graph paper, if you like, and you can make calculations, work out battery voltages, frequency, more technical stuff, which I'm staying clear of at the moment. My number thing don't help me there. But anyhow, that I think is basically all that I can say. You've got sort of common point here, earth point. Now what I will say is great care has to be used with these. As you can see, the probe has got two parts. You've got a clip there which connects back and it's connected to earth. Now it would be so easy to test a bit of equipment which is plugged into the mains, and obviously it's the same earth that you're getting here on the probe on that point that you would be getting on the actual equipment that is being tested. So it'd be very easy to cause a short or just cause damage to either the scope or the probe or yourself. So it's advised to use an isolating transformer connected between the scope and the mains. By doing that, you've eliminated earth connection. At the moment, you've got your earth potential, or earth, and the live and neutral, or the live, is at the same voltage difference as from the neutral as from the earth. So by having an isolator, you completely eliminated that, and you're safe to do testing on a piece of equipment which is plugged into the mains. If it's a battery operated device, then you're okay, but these are the precautions, and I was reminded about these. But there are some very good videos on these which go much deeper into the technicalities than I have. What I should mention is the actual model, which I should have shown you at the beginning. This is made by LG, which stands for Laughing Gold Star, I believe. It's an oscilloscope OS-5020 G, and it runs at 20 megs. It's quite a popular device. It goes under another name now. That's under the LG, which is Laughing Gold Star. The other name's Gold Star. It goes under another name as well. But these, I think, were made in the 90s. I find it's quite a nice little device. And obviously, if you're testing for signals out of, say, integrated circuits, things like that, it's the only thing you've got, because you just don't know. The only way you can tell is by applying the probe to a particular pin and seeing that it's working. It's the only way you know. As I say, these have got a load of chips in them. I haven't opened it up, I'm not going to. The tube does have a very high voltage to it, so obviously great care must be taken when you are fiddling about with them inside. As far as I know, the tube is surrounded by mu metal to reduce magnetic effects or interference from magnetic sources or anything like that, which could alter the shape or position of the trace. This would have what is known as a double beam scope, so it's like two guns within the same tube. I know you can get them where they are split. As far as I know, this is a double gun job. My mate's one, I don't know, that's four channels, so it might have, I don't know enough about it. It might have 4 guns in it, but I would suspect that it's probably 2 guns and they're split. Any information on that would be handy to know. I must admit, I don't even know the make of this one to find that and put it on, but hopefully we'll get it going. This one's working well. So anyhow, I think that's more or less it. As you can tell, I do love talking. Any questions, please ask. If I know the answer, I can get back to you. If I don't know the answer, hopefully someone else out there will. But yeah, that's as more or less all I've got to say on this. Many thanks to the gentleman who passed it on to me. Very grateful, and it has brought back memories from when I used to work. Well, I still work now at home, but when I was in employment, and I got off, as you know, I took release 92. That was due to Maggie Thatcher, done me a great favour. So, you know, I was well pleased. And that's it. Anyhow, I'm gonna vanish now. So once again, thanks again. And any questions, please ask. Thank you.